Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rakakudash, and double honors to the apostles and others with millstone salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother, I'm Noah Allah from Jimmy, Chicago, and coming back with you with another lesson. Alright, which I'm going to go into a quick lesson about, the enjoyment, the mirth of Babylon the Great is depleting, alright? And, I was looking through some news articles, alright? You got recent news articles about U.S. economy flashes warning signs and new data, some analysts say, alright? And, unemployment rate has risen, alright? A warning sign for the U.S. economy. And, we're in a time of where people are really struggling for real financially, all right? People can't find jobs, jobs laying off people, these big tech companies laying off majority of the workforce, all right? And, yeah, we're just going to skim through this article, but it says the federal government released two major economic reports this week, easing a backlog of data pent up by the 43rd day government shutdown. The data flashed some warning signs showing the unemployment rate had ticked up to its highest level in 4 years, and retail sales had stalled at the outset of the holiday season. Some analysts told ABC News. Even so, the reports offer bright spots and at least said a dose of skepticism about numbers released after a weeks-long delay, analysis added. The latest snapshot of economy arrives at the wobbly period, landing amid a slowdown of hiring alongside an uptick of inflation. The jobs report on Tuesday painted a sobering picture of a job market that may be officially being turning frigid after a prolonged cooling period. Let's go into another article. Job market. Now this article really, I can really, well, basically everybody can relate, alright, because majority of Americans, alright, are living in poverty, but mainly, our people, mainly Jake, alright? Americans have a new thing to worry about, a stuck job market with no quick fix, alright? Since the latest jobs report had its share of shutdown-related quirks, but a familiar theme cut through the noise. The U.S. labor market is stuck in a rut. Employers are still hiring, but job growth is at one of its weakest paces in the past 2 decades. And yeah, you can still get a job, alright, but we're coming to the point where, alright, these jobs are going to be harder to get because, we're going further deep into this economic collapse, alright? It's like you go into the grocery store and damn near almost whatever you buy, alright, every single item costs you damn near $10. Alright? Basically 5 items could really just cost you $60. Really eating out of your paycheck. On top of that, you gotta struggle paying your bills too. Your electric bill, or utilities, so on and so forth. Or car insurance, that bull crap. But says, and low fire dynamics persisted in November with an unemployment rate driven higher partly by more people looking for work but not finding it. Long-term unemployment increased. Discouraged workers were on the rise and economic disparities deepened. Hiring, while certainly not on a freeze, is on hold. And people that have jobs are absolutely holding on to them with white knuckles. And this is what I find surprising, all right? Because I feel this too, all right? And I remember one of the brothers told us, like, hey, you have a job right now, right? You got a good job with right now. Stick with that job. And of course, at the end of the day, we're in captivity, all right? If you don't work, you don't eat, all right? But hey, it's too risky, all right, to leave your job nowadays, cause, well, uh, finding a job nowadays is not easy, right? You got people, you got our people that live, all packed up in these neighborhoods nearby the city, but where they're at, by where they live at, all right, since they live in all close up together, and in packed up houses and shit. You know how it is in the hood, all right. You know how it is in those neighborhoods, all right. People, you know, when people rent for a lower amount, but still, it's horrible living, all right. But where those people live at, all right, they can't find jobs around their neighborhoods. Some don't even have cars like that, all right. Some gotta take the buses and shit. Some have to take the buses to go work at a factory, right? Some have to rely on working for a temp agency, all right? And hey, I know what it felt like to work in a factory. I know how that feels. All right, I seen a countless number of our people, I'd say more of the Southern Kingdom, that will travel by bus and come work at these factories that are nearby my crib. But the thing is that they don't live around here, all right? They live more further in the city. But you realize that how it is now on the job market is extremely getting worse. All right? They can't find jobs nearby them where they live at, so they gotta come out here into the suburbs to work at a factory. What says white knuckles white, or white knuckling, describes gripping something intensely due to fear, stress, or determination. And that's what the majority of these people that are feeling right now. But not only just our people, Esau as well. Dan North analysis Trace senior economist for North America told CNN this week, I see that as definitely a labor market that's stagnating. Water or air ceasing to flow or move, becoming stagnant. And hey, ever since 2019 and when the years go by and shit, right, you're starting to realize how intensely, right, it's getting hard to find a job out here, right? Especially how things are now, where people have to pay so much for groceries and stuff like that. And I never knew in my life that Illinois, especially here in Chicago, their taxes are high as fuck compared to the other states. I really never knew that. I thought it was every state that their taxes were high. But yeah, it's getting bad out here, right? Well, none of us want to bring up the scriptures, right? Because people, they're starting to realize that America is dying off, right? They can't thrive like they used to, all right? These people with their plans, trying to make a living and shit. They no longer see that they could prosper, right? This is Isaiah chapter 24, verse 10. It says, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All the joy is darkened, and the mirth of the land is gone. And that's right. The mirth of the land is gone, especially here in America. And you go to these modern day coliseums, right? You go want to watch a basketball game or football game, whatever, right? Because I went to a basketball game recently, but it's not like I was interested. We just got like free tickets and shit, Decided to go because I want to know what it feels like for the first time. But this is my first time going. But going into that Coliseum, right, where they're playing basketball, there were a shitload of seats that weren't even taken. And that goes to show you that these people don't really have that kind of money to afford the entertainment that they want nowadays, right? Proverbs. The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. And that's what you're seeing happening right now. All right, the house of the wicked shall be overthrown. Right, Esau's kingdom is falling. Right, because you can see that that Esau's kingdom is falling just by the way how America is moving right now. Right, you go into the cities, these major cities and shit, and you see that these businesses that used to be there in them spots or in them cities are now boarded up with wood. Right, or you can see um, going out of business signs on some of these businesses too. Right, based upon what I've seen and what I experienced of going to the city. Right, you look around, you can see that. You can really see that. And as Esau is losing it, as these people are losing it, hey, not like us, the hopeful elect, all right, we're rejoicing in these things because thus they're in the know. This us that are in the know, we understand what comes after the downfall of Esau's kingdom. All right, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that ruleth after. So yeah, we do want these things to happen. Hell yeah. Isaiah 14 and 4. That those shall take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how had the oppressor seized the golden city seized? They're going silly, golden city. All right, it's going into America. All right. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the sceptre of the rulers. All right, and that's what you're seeing happening right now. All right, America is coming to a halt. All right. You got people here in America that are basically losing their goddamn minds because they can't afford to live anymore. All right, You even see on social media that Esau is even losing it. All right, Esau is losing it right now. All right, Esau is now starting to really know what it feels like to be like Jake. All right, living in poverty. Going through these curses, because hey, the Lord is putting these curses on our oppressors right now. All right, the Lord had broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. You see, that's what the Lord is doing right now. This is a good thing. It's a good thing. Ecclesiastes 12:3. In the day of the house, in the day when the house, it's like in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grander cease because they are few, and those that look at the wind out of the windows be darkened. And you see, we just like what we read in these articles right here. These people are struggling to find jobs. All right, these people are having to, be white knuckles. All right, having to be white knuckles for their jobs. All right, even me too right now. Even me as well right now. Um, of course, none of us as a whole don't even like working, but hey, I mean, even bros that have so much of a laborer's job, but it's hard to get some other job, especially now because America's ending and shit. But hey, we just gotta endure to the end, because hey, look, this is just temporary. All right, this right here is just a light affliction. This right here is not gonna be something that we're gonna be here forever. Right, we're not gonna be here forever at all. All right, these people, they think we got another 5, 10 years. They think everything's going back to normal. Hell no. All right, who the fuck wants to stay here in this state? All right, our people are still suffering in poverty. Right. All right, who want to be here in another 5 to 10 years? Right. I know for sure us of the hopeful elect don't. But yeah, the grinding is ceased. The grinding is ceasing. Right? We're in an economic depression. And the doors shall be shut in the streets, and when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. In the music industry, all right. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that music industry right now, but damn, I mean, sure sounds like shit. All right, all these new recent rap or hip hop or whatever, I don't even really listen to that like that. You know what I mean? But it's starting to sound garbage. All right. Or they come up albums. All right. Just straight up doo doo. America's ending. All right. These people don't celebrate the holidays like they used to anymore because they can barely afford. They can barely afford anything right now. All right. They're struggling. All right. This is what people are facing every day, all day. And hey, the government shutdown is coming back in January the 30th. All right, we saw what happened with that. All right, with the new record government shutdown lasting for 46 days, right? All right, it really took a toll on the economy. People were actually losing their jobs. People in the airports losing their jobs. Surprisingly, people couldn't even travel at a certain time. But yeah, hope this lesson was edifying. We give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shalom.